All right, we're live. Cool.
Hey.
So, you were out on Egypt today. How was the ice out there on the lake?
Ice is persistent. The front half of the lake is pretty clear. There's the areas where there's a lot of shade. There tends to be some stubborn ice. Like that pocket just to the south of the No Ski Island still had ice. When you went east back towards Egyptian Hills, there was some slushy stuff. I didn't go past that, so I don't know what it was like beyond that. And then I could see looking back south into Shawnee, there was little pockets of ice where, in shade protected areas. So that was disappointing. But the areas where it is open down there, my graph was reading 40-degree water, so that's good.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. You could be 10 feet away from ice and be reading 40 degrees. So it's this rain we're getting tonight I'm hoping tonight's the end of it, because we're supposed to get quite the gully washer tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is it raining over there yet?
Yeah, it's raining. I just came in and locking up the truck and getting ready for tomorrow, and it is raining. Not hard yet, but it is raining.
Okay. So I see Josiah Danbury Outdoors in here. What's up, man? Me and Ron are just kind of doing a sound check. I'm going to be doing a live stream Monday night, and Greg is going to be out of town, and we usually do it up at Greg's house. So Ron was nice enough to jump on here and just to see if everything's working like it's supposed to. How does it sound out there to you guys? Leave a comment. Let me know what it sounds like and what it looks like, if we need to make any adjustments.
Better lighting over here, maybe.
Yeah, I got this little light on right in front of me. What's up, Adam Savage, Eric T, and Andy? I see all you guys on there. Got some people sneaking in here. It's cool.
That's funny.
So were you able to get in the creeks, like any of the creeks? Like besides Clifty, if you went down lake a little bit? We're talking about Lake of Egypt right now, guys. Just the ice and everything.
You could force your way in there. I did not go past Egyptian Hills, and I stayed Main Lake. I did see boats heading that way, but there was still slushy ice, so I didn't mess with that. I've got to fish off tomorrow, so my mind was on what I could fish tomorrow in my productively. So basically Egyptian Hills and then back towards the front of the lake was where I was at. Anyone that hasn't, I'm sorry, anyone hadn't been down there yet though, ice is almost gone.
Okay.
We're almost there.
What were the water temps around the marina area?
I found, believe it or not, 49 today. Up at the golf course. We've had a couple days of east wind, and it's pushed a lot of that warm water up towards that golf course area. And I could go down the lake, maybe about even with Market, and I found 45, 46. So I think that's a degree or two warmer than what you and I had, Gabe, the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the warmest we saw was like 44.9. It jumped up to like 45 for just a second, but a lot of it was 43.
Yeah, a lot was 42, 43 that we fished, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
It's pushed. It's bumped up a bit. And the good thing tonight, although we have this rain, I think it's supposed to actually stay in the 50s tonight. And you know how it is. Yeah, the warm nights are just as important as anything. So that may bump the lake up a notch.
Yeah, I sent out a Facebook post earlier today and just asking if anybody knows if Cedar was open, and somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they said they actually put in at the Carbondale ramp today and they were able to get in. The water temp was, I want to say it was like 36 degrees or something, but they didn't know how it was down at the Pomona side. And I talked to, or I sent a message to Doug Bates, and he said Pomona side was still locked up. I think yesterday or the day before he was there, just looking.
I saw a picture on Facebook, I think, that Doug posted. Didn't he cancel that one cedar tournament, I think?
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good they got in at the front end.
Yeah, exactly. I figure, that gets a lot more sun, and it's got that parking lot and all that riprap and stuff up there, the Carbondale boat ramp. So it's probably, got a little bit more exposure to sunlight and a little bit more heat. So that makes kind of makes sense. Yeah. And then I saw Chad Hill posted something on Crab Orchard. I guess he was able to get in there, and there was a lot of ice and stuff floating around still. But so it's good.
In at Crab.
Yeah, he got into Crab. He had some pictures of him, just some big chunks of ice right next to the boat and stuff. So you still got to be careful, of course. I don't know what the water temps were or anything. So, well, cool. It seems like everything's working on here. I'm gonna end the broadcast, and unless anybody has any last second questions, Ron's got a tournament in the morning, and then I'm gonna go check my YouTube channel, make sure everything is like it's supposed to. So
let people know that up until the other day, like when you and I went, Gabe, Max was still frozen. Max ramp is open now. I put in at Max, and so that was all good. And we're just about done with the ice here at Egypt. So
that's good news. Really good news. Yeah, I'm thinking, like you said, if we have a nice good rain tomorrow, I think almost everything's going to be opened up. Yeah, somebody fished a Little Grassy today too. I saw somebody posted something on Little Grassy, so apparently that's open. That's all open there too. The boat ramp area. It's a nice wide open area where the sun can beat down on it, so that makes sense that you could still get in there.
Yeah. Good deal.
Okay, cool, man. I'll let you go, Ron, and give me a holler tomorrow or shoot me a text. Let me know how you do. Good luck in the morning.
Will do. Thanks, man. We're gonna go drown a few crickets tomorrow. See what happens. It's gonna be wet out, but that's all right.
Is it supposed to rain all day?
The last I saw, I've seen up to 2 inches. With the chance of a small chance of severe weather, which if it's lightning, the fishing report will be from my truck. But short of lightning, I'll be out there, and it may be we get a big gully washer, a warm one. Who knows? Maybe that'll be the thing that clicks the ticket out here and gets the fish going, because fish are catchable out here, as you know, right now, Gabe. But there's a lot of dead spots. There's not, you got to get right in a little nook and cranny to catch one. And maybe this rain tonight and tomorrow will kind of expand things and loosen the lake up, so to speak. I'm hoping.
Yeah, they're bunched up right now. I mean, like when we went Thursday, we got 2 bites on that one little point really quick, and then we fished a lot of dead water, and then we pulled up on that other point, and we caught
like 4 hours worth of dead water.
4 hours worth of dead water. That's right. But we pulled up on that one little spot, and they were there. We caught several right there. So it's kind of like the fall right now. You got to move around and find them suckers.
Yeah. And yesterday it was the same way. I fished several areas. I got in one area and I caught 3 overs out of it, just like it was no big deal. So when you're around them, it doesn't seem that difficult, but there's just a lot of places where you're not around them right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, I watched the Bassmaster Elite tournament today, and that's very evident because there's a lot of guys that struggle. The guys that did good, obviously, they found the right area and they found the fish, but a lot of guys were just hunting and pecking all day long and couldn't come up with hardly anything.
Is Gussie still leading it?
Yes. He's got a 7-pound lead.
7-pound lead?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was on your live stream last time. Maybe someone was talking about Knoxville, or I might have been on Bass Talk Live. I don't remember, but I made a comment that someone's going to catch him on the Moon Eye jig. And that's not the exact brand that Gussie's throwing, but what I was referring to is they were down there a few years ago and they were vertical jigging basically a swim bait on a jig head, just basically crappie fishing underneath the boat on the boulders for smallmouth. And lo and behold, that's what Gussie's doing. And he's been able to. What's impressive is the smallmouth limit there is 18 inches. So he's finding 18 inches and bigger. That's pretty cool.
It's funny. It reminds me of Cedar. When we fish those tournaments over there, we got that 14, 18-inch slot, and all the guys are complaining about, having to throw back like a 17 and a half inch spot or smallmouth.
You and I had a fish off like that together.
God, man, it's crazy.
And it's funny. I caught every 17-incher in the lake.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was talking to Lucas Stell. I don't know. It's been about a month or so ago, maybe a couple months ago, and I said, "Man, those tournaments are so frustrating. You catch these nice quality, 17 and a half inch fish over there is a 3-pounder. I mean, you get 5 of those, you got 15, 16 pounds in a tournament, and you got to throw them back." And I told Luke, I said, I'm really excited because those 17 3/4, 17 and 7/8 fish next year are going to be 18 inches. He's like, dude, I've been thinking that for 10 years. Basically, he said it's not going to happen.
Where do they go?
Yeah, where do they go? I don't know. I guess all the crappie fishermen put them in their coolers or something.
I don't know, but yeah, you're right. You can go down there, and if you're just fun fishing, it's great. But but when you're catching those things down there, and then that's all you're catching, like that one day you and I had, it's like, okay, what adjustment do you make? Because it's hard to think you're doing something wrong when you're catching 20 17-inchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to say, well, what am I doing wrong? Because normally you would never say you're doing anything wrong. But there probably is an adjustment to make, to change that. But
and you kind of think it's a numbers game. If you catch enough fish, eventually you're going to run into a bigger one, and sometimes it is like that. But there's times when those bigger fish are just a little bit out deeper or a little bit shallower or just on something different. It's frustrating.
Something different.
Yeah. I remember a tournament. I was fishing a club tournament over at Devil's Kitchen, and I kept throwing. I was catching them on a top water on just I think it was a little spitting image or something, just a small walking top water, and I caught I started out with a 12-incher. When I caught a 12-incher, I put it in the live well, and then I bumped up to like a 12 1/4, and then I bumped up to 12 1/2, and I kept catching fish. I mean, I caught like 20. I was probably 20 fish in, and I'm thinking, do I need to change? Because my biggest fish is like 12 1/2 inches. I'm getting bites. Surely, if I can just keep catching fish, I'll run into a bigger one. And I finally caught probably I'm just guessing, but probably my 30th fish or so was like a 13 1/2 incher. And I felt like I'd caught like a double-digit bass on Lake Fork or something, because it's so hard to get above that 12 1/2 inch. You catch a 13 1/2 incher. And then I think I ended up weighing in a 14 1/4. But I probably caught close to 40 fish on the top water. And you keep thinking, if you keep catching them, you're going to bump up. But sometimes it doesn't work. And then it also has to do with the lake, because, Devil's Kitchen is just stacked full of those smaller fish like that.
There's a million. The Grassy's getting that way too, at least for me.
Really?
Hey, is this Colby Baker Fishing?
Yeah, he's got what's the best?
For coming up for Egypt, what do you think, Gabe? Definitely something white. A lot of times once those fish make a move, the white chatterbait. I mean, that's kind of a standard answer for all the lakes around here this time of year, but you don't have to do anything fancy on the Egypt. White chatterbait, white spinnerbait. There is something about white on Lake of Egypt in the spring. It's been that way forever. Once those fish get off those shad a little bit, jig, of course. But I usually go all the way to the back of the pockets and work my way out, and then try and find them that way. Try and get ahead of the fish. You either want to be where they're at or ahead of them. You don't want to be behind the fish in the spring. So I just go to the back of the pockets and then work my way out. Usually it's not going to be long. Secondary points are going to start to seem like there's a little bit of a pattern there. And, we'll get out of this cold snap we had sooner rather than later. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think if we get that rain, say we get an inch of rain tonight, and it's a warm rain, like you said, because it's supposed to stay in like the 50s overnight, I believe, high 40s, low 50s. So it's going to be a warm rain. It's going to, hopefully it'll bring in just a little bit of stain in the backs of those creeks. It's going to melt that ice that's back there. Of course, that's, when that ice melts, it's going to mix with that warmer water. It's going to be a little bit colder than normal. But if it does bring a little bit stain and then we have a sunny day or two, that water temperature is going to jump up to 42, 43, something like that. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long to go from 36 to 42 if it's stained and you got like 2 full days of sun.
That old rock crawler of yours will get to play pretty quick.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yep, rock crawler, your wiggle wart, like a flat side crankbait, a little shad wrap or something, covering water, and that's just going to make that chatterbait bite better if you just get a little bit of stain in the water. I'm thinking the big spinnerbait. That's why I'm excited to get on Cedar. That the Thunder Thumper. That's what I'm officially calling that thing now. But that's going to play once that water gets like 43 degrees is when it kind of starts working for me.
Yeah, and Gabe's got some really good videos for the gentleman that was asking about Egypt. Gabe's got several videos this time of year from the last several years here on Egypt, and they're worth rewatching, and just catching quite a few fish, just doing exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch those to remember what the heck I was doing. So it's good review for myself too.
Shadow Bassin, he's not throwing the moon eye like they did a couple years ago. I watched him today. He said he's throwing a custom made jig from some guy in Canada who I didn't know. So he's throwing a custom jig, but it's basically the same thing. Just vertical jigging under the boat. What I'm surprised by is he's the only one doing it. That's what surprised me.
Well, when Polinick was up on stage today, he said he scanned that section of river that Gussie's fishing and tried to catch those fish, and he couldn't get them to bite. So he was saying hats off to Gussie for making it happen.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
So he's not the only guy that knew those fish were there. He just figured out how to get those suckers to bite. What was he tipping that jig head with? What kind of baits he got on there?
He showed it, and I don't remember what the name brand of the. It looks like a fork-tail shad bite. I don't know if it was a Z-Man product. I'm not really sure. It looked like about a 4-inch shad body. And he's just good at bow control and putting that bait in front of the fish.
Yeah, he's got that dialed in. I mean, that's crazy. And Steve Kennedy, man, he made a big run there. I think he caught a little over 20 pounds.
Yeah, I was watching when the camera panned to him live, and he caught a 6-pounder just right in front of the camera, right when they panned to him. It was great.
Yeah,
he was fired up.
Man, that's when you know everything's going your way.
Yeah, that's about when I loaded up my boat and went to the lake. So whatever happened after that, I don't know. But
yeah, did you see? I guess I'm gonna talk about this because it's never happened. But I played the fantasy fishing deal, and my team is like, well, not my team, but my points right now. I think I'm like 71st in the points and 99.2%. So
Dang.
I know it's not going to last, but I was like, wow, how did that happen? I mean, I picked my team last week, and I just kind of went by went off my gut, kind of analyzed it a little bit, didn't overanalyze it. And I didn't even remember who I had picked when the tournament started, because I can't remember. I just had a lot of stuff going. I never had a chance to go back and actually check. And I'm glad I didn't, because I left it that way. Sometimes if you get in there and you start making changes, it usually comes back to bite you. You just kind of go on your gut feeling and make it happen. But I had Stetson Blaylock, which he finished in the low 50s, I think. So he was out, he didn't fish today. But then I got Matt Robertson, which he had a top 20. And then I picked Scott Canterbury, which he had a top 20. And then I have Hackney, which slid into, he was like in the 10 spot today, so he's fishing tomorrow. And then I also got Jake Whitaker. Jake Whitaker's like I want to say number 4. So there's 2 guys on my team that are fishing tomorrow, and then I have 2 more that finished in the top 20. And Stetson was the one that finished outside of that. But I don't quite understand how all the points and stuff work. I know it depends on the ownership and the percentages and stuff. So if somebody's got a higher percentage, say somebody's got 50% ownership, you're not going to make up that much ground on that person. But if somebody's got 2% ownership and you pick him and he does really good, well, you beat 98% of the people on that. So that really bumps your numbers up. But it's pretty fun, man. You get really invested in the tournament. I was just watching it. I hit the bass track every once in a while just to see where my guys were at. And, it's funny. You kind of root against some people, especially if they're just like a pound below your dude, and you see them catch one on live. You're like, dang it, man. I hope it gets off. And it's, you really get into it, man. So,
that's
Menendez,
cool. And I think that's an advantage they have over I don't think Redcrest has fantasy fishing, do they?
No, MLF does not, and they need to do that. You're right. I think that's a big disadvantage for them, and I don't know how hard it is to do that. I mean, they got all the money in the world, right? They got Johnny Morse on their side. You think they could come up with fantasy fishing?
Yeah, if Bass can do it, they can do it. So
Kobe's killing it.
I'm in like 17,000th place. I guess I need to play.
It's fun, dude. You'd like it. It's super easy, man. I don't know how many people play it. I don't know if there's 1,000 people, if there's 10,000 people that do it, but it's still cool. I enjoy it. I played it a couple years ago. I didn't play it last year. And I don't know. So far it's working out pretty good. You can get on a team. Like there's groups. So you pick your dudes into buckets, and then you can get on different groups. Like Hella Bass is one I'm on. Kevin Baxter's team, Baitman, and then like Arsenal Fishing and Tackle Warehouse. There's tons and tons of groups you can get in, and you just they all give different prizes and stuff for the top finishers, and so it's kind of fun. Keeps you invested into the tournament. Yeah, it's a good time. So
it's a great thing for the sponsors. More eyes watching across all the time, and it's smart. It's smart on their part.
Yeah, that's another thing about the live that I love so much is you just get to see. I don't know. You get to see what's going on. You get to see. I like watching the adjustments that those guys make, especially when it's really, really tough. Because we've all been there when it's like it's not going the way you thought it was going to go, and you just kind of
a couple days ago.
a couple of days ago, that's right. But we were kind of looking too. We kind of went down in some areas where
you were the victim of me having a fish off tomorrow. So
yeah, we were making it hard on ourselves.
But still, it was tough. It's not like we weren't trying to catch one. It was tough.
Yeah, I had to switch. And that's another thing we'll talk about real quick before we get off here. But making a bait adjustment, because I was throwing that Hawgz Custom Feral Hog Junior, which is just a little it's like a 5 1/4 inch finesse worm. Really cool worm. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check them out. But I got that one bite that I broke off. Had a really good bite. It was right after you loaded up with that one on jig. And then they did seem like they didn't want a worm anymore. And I pinched a worm down. No, actually I did pinch a worm down. I waited after I broke off, I tied another worm on, and then we fished some more. And then we found that point that had those fish on it. And I put the little speed crawl on there, and I immediately started getting bit, changed the profile. And we saw a lot of fish on the side scan. So we knew the fish were up there. You were throwing your bait, and you're getting bumped with it. And so I put
you can say the
worm.
bait.
Yeah. Well, you got a tournament tomorrow, but I took, a fork. I took that worm and I cut it off. Basically I made like a Ned head out of it. Or a Ned rig out of it, smaller worm. And I knew the fish were up there, and I threw it up there and they wouldn't pick it up. And then I put that speed crawl back on there and I got a bite. That first time I think I cast after I put that speed crawl on was right up on top of that point. And I was feeling, and it felt like I was in like some old decayed grass, and that fish had grabbed it and was just moving off with it really, really slow. And so so basically what I'm getting at is there was no hesitation. Once the fish saw that different profile, they grabbed it immediately. So, even though you're fishing
4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah.
I was throwing, for those listening, we saw some schooling fish. I don't know if they're really schooling, but we saw a group of fish off the side of a point, and Gabe's telling, he caught them on that. They wanted that speed crawl for whatever reason. And I was throwing a flutter spoon, and I caught one, and I had several other hits, but they just didn't really want it. I don't know how many times I set the hook, and I'm sure some of it was bass. I did catch one big old gizzard shad, and I'm washing my raincoat, by the way, right now. That thing stunk today.
That stunk for like 5 minutes.
Oh, good Lord. But it was really interesting how keyed in they were on that speed crawl. That's just what they wanted, and if you hadn't thrown that, we may not have caught much on that little spot.
Yeah. And you know what else? I also, before I went to that speed crawl, I switched to the 5-inch Zoom finesse worm. Remember, in between the Hawgz Custom Bait, which is a little bit bigger, fatter worm, I switched to the finesse worm, and that's the worm that I always get bit on. And they didn't want that worm. So I had 2 different brands of a finesse worm. So that leads me to believe that they just didn't want that shape. They definitely wanted the little crawfish shape.
Yeah.
Just a little thing, but it saved the day for me.
It saved our day, period. I mean,
it did.
Yeah, because we were over. We had some fish on before that, but we didn't have a fish in the boat before we got on that point. So that was good.
What we call that now? The meat hole.
The meat hole.
Yeah, that's the meat hole, man. Yeah, Kobe. I'll send you a friend request on Facebook, and send some baits, and we'll talk about them on the stream. Get you some press out there. Got small water charters in there. What's up, man? We're just doing a little live check. Peacocks. We some peacocks today. We're just doing a little run through. Ron was nice enough to jump on here, and we ended up kind of talking a little bit about Egypt. And small water charters is down there in Florida, so he doesn't know anything about ice at all.
He can have all ours.
Yeah, I don't think it gets below 60 down there. He caught some peacock bass. He said he caught some peacock bass. Have you ever caught peacock bass?
Myself, no. No, I never have. Never been in an area that I haven't done much fishing that far south. So when I have, it's been ocean fishing. So I don't have a lot of experience in Florida water.
Same here. I've been to Dolphin Island in the Mobile, Alabama area, and we used to go out on those. We'd go out to the oil rigs at night. It's funny, we had this is kind of I'm lucky to be alive. We had like a 17-foot ski boat, and we go out in the ocean at night, and you had to run about 10 miles out to those oil rigs, and we wouldn't leave it
in a 17-foot boat.
Yes. And that one, we had some people throwing up a couple times in there. We'd run out about 10 miles out in the Gulf Coast and tie up on those oil rigs out there. And they're all lit up, right? And so they attract all these bait fish at night. It's crazy out there. You see all kinds of just wild stuff happening out there. But you tie like about a 50-foot rope once you figured out which way the current was pushing you, and then you just ease off and tighten up, and you just float around out there and fish. And we caught a lot of those king mackerel. They're 40 to 50-inch fish, and I was fishing like big cigar minnows on a big circle hook with 50-pound tests, and you just cast them like a jerk bait. You just throw it out and just kind of twitch it and let it fall in the light, and all of a sudden, man, your line would just lock up. And I had like a big musky rod and one of the big Abu Garcia, I think it was the 6500C, the really big round reel.
Okay.
And I had my drag totally cranked down as tight as I could get it, and those fish were still just and your forearms are on fire. You have to basically that ski boat, there was 2 bench seats going down the center of it, and you had to like wedge your feet into each side of those benches into the base, because the waves are going like this, and you're trying to fight this huge fish, and it was nuts. It was intense.
I'll be done.
So good times, but that's kind of what we did. I did that like 2 or 3 years in a row. It's a lot of fun.
Huh. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Andy said he's thinking about heading to Chickamauga Lake in a few weeks to kayak fish. You're going to Gunnersville or Chickamauga?
Me?
Yeah. Are you going down there?
I'm going to Gunnersville. Week after next, we got our classic down there. So I'm going down there, and I'll be down there for a week. And then I've got a tournament the weekend before it. Head down to Gunnersville for the classic, get back. I got a tournament the weekend after I get back. So March is going to go by quick.
Heck yeah. You're going to get some good time.
Yeah.
So what's up, Backbone Outdoors? Daniel Simmons fished Egypt today. That's kind of what we were just talking about. Ron's got a tournament tomorrow, and he was out there today just kind of checking out the conditions. And we kind of started this stream just talking about some of the local lake conditions. And did you actually fish there, Daniel, or just wondering about it? All right, Ron, I'll let you go, dude. I know you got to get up early, but appreciate you helping me out. Problem. And like I said earlier, good luck tomorrow. Hope you catch 15, 16 pounds.
That I'll take that right now.
You gonna throw an A-rig tomorrow?
Hopefully not. Tomorrow's the last day I would be allowed to in a tournament setting, and then once Angler's Choice starts the following week, we're not allowed to throw it. So mentally, I've kind of moved on from the A-rig, but it's underneath the lid, and if I have to throw it tomorrow, I will. What I'm hoping is, with this warm rain that we've got coming, if that water will come up and get some color to it in the areas where we've been fishing, I think that's going to transfer some of those A-rig fish into fish that we can attack in other ways. And I'm hoping fish come to me tomorrow a little bit, and I think that'll help me do what I want to do tomorrow. And big picture, that's eventually what's going to happen no matter what. It's Monday's March, so the fish know what time of year it is.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, they're ready, they're right there. We got a full moon coming up pretty soon. I know the water's still cold, but the photo period, the length of the day, is what dictates that movement. And it's time. Yeah. I mean, it's time. It's almost March.
Yep. Yeah.
Shout out to Backbone Outdoors. He's got a channel at 442. He's trying to get up to 450. So you guys go check him out. Aaron wants to know the conditions at Kincaid. Have you heard anything about Kincaid?
I haven't heard a word. It sounds like today some of the ramps broke free at the other lakes, but up until today, I think Gidre's been the only thing going, and that hasn't been for very long. So I think everyone's kind of in the same boat. I mean, if guys got in on Cedar, on Crabbin and Grassy today, then I would assume you could get on Kincaid too. But just have a lot of ice still floating around.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
Yeah, but it's gonna go quick. Tonight it's in the 50s. It's gonna rain. Better days ahead, and they're not very far ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm so ready. What's up, Reef Robber? All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Ron's got to get up early and hit a tournament, and I'm gonna go up and start working on some video. I got your South Fork John boat video done, and I'm gonna start working on the Vexus. We're gonna have a really cool. I went over to Ron's house Thursday. I keep saying I'm gonna get off here, but we keep rolling. But I went over to Ron's house Thursday. We did a fishing video, just an Egypt kind of lake report, but we also did some pretty cool stuff too. We did a walkthrough. Ron just got a Vexus, so it was a VX21. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so we did a walkthrough, which is Ron went through the boat inside and out and really broke down all the unique features on the Vexus. That's the first time I've ever been in a Vexus, and look, I was kind of geeked out. I was kind of geeky about it. It's really sharp, very, very well built. It's got a lot of neat little niche things. I was telling Jay the other day that it's one of those boats where you can tell that they listened to fishermen when they built that boat, and it was also built by people that had been in the industry for a long time and that were fishermen themselves, because there's just a lot of little things that make sense. So I'll be working on that video probably tonight. It should drop maybe next week. And then we also did just some spring bait selections that Ron went through, some of his go-to baits for the spring. And I did one with Jay last week that dropped, and Ron's bait selection is completely different. So you got Jay's baits and then Ron's, and which is really cool because we didn't want to do the same exact baits, because they're all work. So he just picked out a few different baits.
And by the way, go back and look at Jay's bait selection, because Jay's bait selection is spot on. So he's got some really good looking baits too there. So I purposely wanted to do something a little different. But as I've told Gabe, and Gabe's fished with me a little bit now, I always try to do things a little half off step from everyone else, because, if you're fishing behind a bunch of people, you don't want to do the same thing. So I tried to throw some different ideas out there.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
There was some good stuff on there. Some stuff that I forgot about. I don't want to talk about too much because I want you guys to go check out the video. But there's some stuff it's a little bit different that I kind of overlooked. But once you started showing those, it makes total sense.
Yeah,
and then
I'm hoping a little bit of that comes into play tomorrow. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Definitely.
But we'll see.
And then the other video that we'll have is Ron's got we both have aluminum boats. As you guys know, I do most of my fishing out of an aluminum boat, but Ron's got the Vexus, but he's also got a 1652 South Fork. Really nice aluminum boat. So we did a walkthrough on that, just kind of breaking it down. You can look at the different layouts that you can get from South Fork. It's kind of a custom build deal, and you just basically you kind of draw up what you want, and you can take it to Harrison's, and they will relay it down there to South Fork. They'll build it like you want. Comes back up to Harrison's. They kind of rig it up, put the carpet and stuff in there, put a trailer underneath it, and you've got basically a customized aluminum boat. So we did a walkthrough of that, and that's going to be another video that'll be coming out. And then, man, I'm hoping to start doing some fishing stuff now. I did that ice fishing video not too long ago, and man, that was actually fun. I was I'm done with the ice, but I enjoyed it. I wish it wouldn't have been so cold when we had ice. Basically the day that I went was the first day that it was even close to freezing. Prior to that, it was like 10 degrees and -4 degrees, and I'm not going to go out.
Awful.
I'm not going to go out and do it, but I wish we would have had a nice little stretch of like maybe 28-degree days where I could have actually went out and learned a little bit more about ice fishing because I felt like I was starting to figure out some things and get a little bit braver. You know, I started out with one hole, and then I got a little bit braver, and I walked out about 10 more feet, and I popped another hole, and then then nothing happened. So, you know, 10 minutes later, I popped another hole, and actually went back the next day.
It didn't fall through.
Didn't fall through, and cleaned out my other holes. And thing is I knew where there were 2 brush piles, and you know, close to where there were 2 brush piles, but the one was over. It looked kind of sketchy over there, and it probably wasn't because I had a good solid 5.5 inches of ice probably, but some of that snow had melted in an area, and it was kind of pulled up just slightly. It looked moist, so I'm thinking that's like a soft spot in the ice. It most likely wasn't, but I kept looking. I'm looking at that soft spot, and I'm knowing that brush pile's right there, and it's a spot I cast off the bank to all the time and catch fish. And as the minutes went on, I wasn't getting any bites. I'm thinking, man, I need to poke a hole.
Where'd Gabe go? I don't know. He was ice fishing a while ago.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody told me to take 2 screwdrivers and tie them on a rope. And I think it was a shadow bassin that was on here a while ago. And he basically take 2 screwdrivers, tie them on a rope, put it around your neck. So if you fall through your ice, you can pick yourself out of the hole.
Yeah. So if you fall in, you can get out.
Right. So that's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, we're going to go for real this time. So,
all right, bud.
Good luck tomorrow. Appreciate it, dude.
All right. We'll talk.
All right. Thanks everybody on here for stopping by and checking out this stream. Monday. I can click you out, Ron. Okay, cool. You're out of here now then. Monday, our special guest, it's actually going to be me. Greg's out of town. He's in Georgia on a little trip. And so I'm not going to be up there at the Backyard Bass and Bar and Grill. I'm just going to be doing it here from my house, but we're going to have Brendan McCord. So Brendan McCord won the All-American. I believe it was in 2019. So just a couple years ago. And I think last week he had a top 10 finish on Lake Guntersville in the Toyota Series. So he's still out there fishing, still a Southern Illinois stick. I think he lives around the Wren Lake area. Not 100% sure where he lives at, but he's going to be our guest. I'm really looking forward to talking to him. I've never met him, and we've just kind of DM'd each other. So that's going to be this Monday at 7:30 Central. So you guys that are on here, appreciate you guys coming back and checking that out. Greg might jump on here too from Georgia. Might send him a link and see if he can jump on here. But I guess that's it, man. It seemed to be okay. I'm going to go back and check this out on the old YouTube channel and see if everything worked out like it was supposed to. But like I said, I usually do stuff up at Greg's house, and this is the first time I pulled up the StreamYard on my little laptop here, and everything seems to be going good. So that's all I got for you guys. Have a good evening. I'm getting ready to go check out the bait man, see what's going on over there. But peace out. I hope you guys get out in the water.